Hello, welcome to the first episode of Community and Business. I'm Abby Finch, CEO and founder of Scribespace, an internet marketing consulting company focused on helping small businesses achieve their marketing success through low cost and no cost efforts. Each episode, we're going to talk to local business owners in the community. We're going to talk to entrepreneurs, artists, and talk about what inspires them, the challenges that they have, and get a little behind the scenes look at what makes a business run. This week we're going to be talking to my first guest, Laura DeMeo, South Orange native and local photographer. Hi, Laura.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the show. Each episode we're also going to talk about a specific theme. So this week's theme is turning your hobby into a business, which I know Laura is in the process of trying to make her side photography business into a full-time business. So we're going to talk a little bit about what challenges are you having to overcome in that. It's a topic that's near and dear to my heart because that's what I did. I turned my passion and hobby of writing and I turned it into a full-fledged business that is, hopefully continues to grow. We'll talk a little bit about how you got started in photography.
Well, I've always done photography since I can remember, just like setting up shots and taking pictures and having fun with it. And then I kind of realized that photography is something that I had, like in high school at Columbia, I realized that it was something that I really loved doing, and I just kind of immersed myself in it, skipping classes and staying late and skipping school to be in school.
Awesome. Well, it's good to pick something you're passionate about. So what do you love about photography? Why are you passionate about it?
I am always just appreciating the world around me and engaging with others. And so what I really love about photography is the way that I can engage with others and kind of cross-pollinate my business with every other business around me, because everything can use a photograph.
That's true. So you went to school, right, for photography out in California?
Yeah, out of high school, I went to school for photography in Santa Barbara, California, Brooks Institute. It's a committed photography school, so I learned the ins and outs of lots of different facets of commercial photography.
That's great. That's really important for anyone who is thinking about turning their hobby into an actual business, is having the right education and the right credentials so that you have the experience and the knowledge to back up what you're trying to do. Was there a particular moment that you realized that you wanted to do this full time?
Yeah, I kind of remember standing there shooting headshots and I was doing headshots and different product photography, and I've always really loved food photography and fashion and art, and I realized that like everybody needs images, and I am now trained to do them for everybody, and that's when I really realized my vision for my career.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like images are so powerful. Like that's how I feel about words, and that's why I'm passionate about writing, and I turned into my passion for writing into writing marketing for different businesses, and I like how that we kind of have those similar ideas about using our passion to help other businesses grow and develop, and that's really great. What are your favorite subjects to photograph?
I really love photographing everything. Food is something that comes really naturally to me, food photography, and I have a background in cooking as well, so food styling is obviously very important. Products, people, events, and then obviously I love art.
Awesome. Was there a particular shoot that sticks out in your mind? Any sort of?
Speaking just to the art portion of it, I've had this traveling vision that I've brought with me all the time of like these girls like coming out of a doorway with these like really ethereal essence to it, and I've brought that vision with me for years, probably like 6 or 7 years. I walked around like looking for this doorway and just in the back of my mind, like grocery shopping, looking for this doorway. And I finally, I was walking through a sculpture garden with 3 of my girlfriends, my backpack full with a camera and 3 ball gowns that I decided to take with me. And I finally stumbled upon my scene and created my vision.
And I've seen those photographs, and they are excellent.
Thank
Very
you.
cool shots. Girls running out in ball gowns in the middle of a field out of a doorway.
Thank you.
Very surreal. We're going to talk a little bit about, the business aspect of it all. What sort of, I know you're freelancing right now on the side. What sort of challenges do you have as a freelancer?
I have a lot of challenges. I work full-time as a photographer for a market research company, so I keep my skills pretty sharp there in a lot of degrees, but as that kind of segments into how I operate as a freelancer because I have that much less time. So I have this time restriction, I have a ton of competition, I have a limited budget, I have limited resources, and I don't want to waste any of my time that is so precious. I want to figure out how to really go at this in the proper direction.
Yeah, I've struggled with that myself a lot. I've devoted a lot of time to things that haven't worked out, different sort of marketing efforts. One particular thing is I've been trying to establish contacts in the media, which is really, really difficult. And I keep trying and trying and trying, but it wasn't working out. So I had to go a different direction. So I think that's really important, is that allowing yourself to fail and realizing what doesn't work. And then you can direct your attention towards things that do work. But I don't know, we're thinking about failure as sort of a stepping stone rather than an obstacle in the way. As a learning, I've learned way more from my mistakes than I have from what I've done successfully. So right now, how are you getting new clients, getting new business?
Right now, mostly just through direct word of mouth. When someone I know will know that I'm a photographer, and if they are asked for a photographer, they recommend me, or through my direct contacts. I have people that work in the arts or in restaurant, and so I'll contact them directly and offer services, or they come to me with a need. And
I know you're doing some work for NJPAC.
Yeah, I work for the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, doing some event photography there, which is a lot of fun. Local restaurants and local businesses.
Yeah, that's networking is huge. A lot of my business is also referral based, and that can be frustrating, waiting around for other people to refer you new business or wondering why you're not getting new business. So directing marketing efforts in the right towards the right path is huge. It's key. And that's where, like, someone like you, I don't know if there's people out there that want to get into photography. Maybe they want to be a wedding photographer. Maybe they have to think about establishing relationships with bridal shops or beauty salons that offer hair and makeup services for brides and bridal parties. Maybe some cross promotion or ideas, thinking outside the box. That's always a great way to get started. And where do you see yourself? Where do you see your business going? The direction next 5 years, the next 10 years?
In the next 5 years, I want to grow my freelance to occupy more of my time, engaging with local businesses that I feel morally engaged with. Along like parallel paths. Like, I'm someone who's really all about my local community. With small businesses, I want someone who's giving back to the community as well, someone who's environmentally minded, someone who's sustainably minded.
That's great.
That'd be nice to give back to those businesses, and ultimately, like, within the next 10 years, I'd say I'd like to be fully sustaining on that business idea.
Yeah, it's great when you can kind of intertwine different interests you have. So you have this passion for photography, but you also are passionate about sustainability. And I know you're telling me that you want to support businesses that are supporting other businesses. Like bakeries that use local ingredients, or a clothing company that, you know, manufactures clothing in a ethical manner. You know, it's great when, you know, looking at like the larger picture of things. That's really important and really, really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the future of business. As the millennials are growing older, they have a real conscience, I think, to their purchasing power.
Yeah. You know, people, like the millennial generation, they're more interested in, with all the problems that we're having, more interested in building a sustainable community rather than, wasting. So it's great to cultivate that kind of, and that's sort of, it's interesting how you are able to do that. What kind of other challenges do you sort of face? I mean, you talked about having other competition and, budgetary restraints. I mean, what's sort of like your biggest challenge?
Technology is a big thing in photography. Not having like the newest camera sensors or the widest aperture lenses or studio space, keeping up with those kinds of things, and then just like all the know-how of business, like accounting and legal, like all of that is big and daunting.
I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
There's really fun aspects to business, and then there's really boring, tedious aspects of business.
Which are probably really important.
Yeah. That's when I learned, through making a lot of mistakes, is sort of outsourcing some of the more tedious things, like bookkeeping, for example, and tracking expenses and how much I'm coming in and where to allocate resources. So you think about, for your business, cameras and technology, I mean, where is the biggest long-term investment for you? I'm sure that there's plenty of information out there, and it's finding the best information that's most relevant to you and your professional goals. So, and what kind of keeps you going with photography? I mean, like you said, it's a really competitive field. Everyone has iPhones to take pictures, Everyone has filters on Instagram and all that stuff. What keeps you going?
The love of engaging. I really love being a part of the world around me, and I genuinely want to see everyone around me succeed, and I want to help them get there, and I want to get there too.
Yeah, and I've seen some of your work, and it's really excellent, and sort of like when I read a book that produces this emotional reaction.
Thanks.
Imagery has that power, and I think some of the things that you've done has that power too. Whether it moves you to laugh or to cry. Art, we don't necessarily always think of it as a business or as a way of making monetary success. But when you're able to combine those two things, being able to captivate an audience or emotionally engage an audience at the same time, pursuing it in a way that can make it be financially sustainable for you. That's a really awesome way to intertwine the whole thing. So we are almost out of time. We're going to take a quick break and then come back for the second segment. I'm going to talk about some really practical ways to get you started if you're interested in turning your hobby into a business. And we'll talk a little bit more with Laura, and that's it. We're going to take a little break.
Once you're hit by a train, this is the size of bag that we'll use to collect what's left of you on the tracks.
It was a horrible tragedy that could have been averted if we had just stayed off the tracks.
I don't want to have to be the one that has to go tell your parents that you're dead.
Make the right choice. Stay off the tracks.
Hi, welcome back to Community and Business. I'm Abby Finch, here with local photographer Laura DeMeo. In the first half, we talked a little bit about Laura's business as a photographer and where she's looking to go and to grow that business. And for the second half of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about things that you can do and turning your hobby into a business, monetizing your hobby. And we'll talk to a little bit more with Laura about her craft and a little behind the scenes look at what it takes to be a photographer. So from sort of a behind the scenes look at a business, you need to think about, I have sort of a 4-step action plan. If you're thinking about turning your hobby, whatever it is, jewelry making, sculpture, pottery, photography, writing, any sort of artistic craft, or, you know, if you want to go through a more traditional entrepreneur, if you have an idea, an invention, anything like that, if you want to turn that into a business, you have to first take some certain steps. I know for me, I like things to happen overnight. You know, I want to have things to just snap my fingers and it all come together. But I know to where I got to the point where I actually started an LLC and you know, started an actual business. It took a lot of lead up to get there. You know, first, the basics. So we talked about how you have, you know, education and training, you have a degree in photography. You know, if you're looking to turn your hobby into a business, do you have the right training? Do you have the right education? Do you need accreditation? You know, it could be as simple as taking a class at the Y or at the adult school, or, you know, you might need an entire degree. Taking workshops, taking seminars, taking classes. I mean, really learning about your craft is so key, and it also gives you the ability to network with other people. You know, maybe get a mentor, someone who's walked the path before, who can teach you the ropes a little bit. Like we were talking a little bit about when we were breaking, is you know, when you're photographing, like, how do you know when to make things black and white? How do you know when to make things a little blurry and this a little more focused? You know, you need the right education and training, you know. And then also we're thinking about maybe starting a business. Do you have the right equipment? Do you have the right space? Do you need a physical space? Do you need a retail location? Do you have enough capital to get started? Do you need a loan? Do you need investors? Laura, for your photography business, what kind of startup expenses did you have?
Well, there's some items that I just kind of keep in pocket all the time. My camera, you know, I invested in like a really high quality lens. In like a technical field like that, you need certain aspects of it as a foundation. So I have like a high quality lens. I have a fairly recent camera that I keep as a staple. You know, I have my editing software that I've invested in, and those kinds of things keep like good baseline for me to jump off of into different other platforms if I want to go into print or other media.
Right. I know for my business, I basically, all I need is a desk, a computer, and a printer. It's very low startup costs. When you think about like an internet-based business, which is what my business is. So you know, when you need to purchase a lot of really technical equipment, it can have a lot of startup costs. So once you have that all kind of figured out, you have the right education, the right training, do you have the right equipment, the right space, and the right capital, you know, you can think about the actual business aspect of it all. And I know that's, for me, my least favorite part of it all. I like being in business. I like being my own boss. I like being able to look at my creative vision and see it through, but I hate dealing with bookkeeping, the legal, accounting. I know when I first started the LLC, I, you know, went to an accountant and he set it all up for me. I've had to, since I do service work for clients, contracts, terms of services, privacy policy, you know, that's sort of the things that those are not my strong suits, so I outsource that to other people, you know, and I thought, like, maybe when you know, started getting serious about photography, you invested in, you know, equipment. For me, it was investing in professional consulting help with someone who actually understands all of this stuff, and coming up with a solid business plan. You know, I thought about I mean, I know we both kind of shared the vision of turning something that was kind of a side business to something that's a full-time thing that we could actually support ourselves long-term with, and that's something that I work towards. And that's sort of my long-term goals. And what are the building blocks? Like, how do I get there? For some people, if they want to monetize their hobby, it could just be they just want to do it on the side. They want to keep their full-time job or whatever it is, or they just need a part-time job, or, for full-time parents, who want a creative outlet. Different people have different goals and different visions. And I think having clear goals is really important to achieving success. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely keeping a realistic idea of what you're capable of too as an individual.
Right.
If you have a really huge scope and you have other people who are on par with you to get this end game going, realizing that, okay, like I'm good at marketing, you're good at writing, okay, we'll have another person designing this portion of it, and realize like this is not my strong suit, it's not your strong suit, we're going to have somebody else do that.
Right.
To take it to the next level, because there's too much out there to have a poor product. There's too many products.
Right. And that's, the same, we're talking about time restraints, it's how much can I actually accomplish in a day? I tend to set really unrealistic goals and narrowing down my goals and narrowing down my focus, and doing things one step at a time has been really helpful for me, at least, and actually getting things accomplished and being productive in a single day. So once you get kind of the basics, you get the business stuff down, sort of maybe the more less glamorous aspects of starting a business out of the way, you can think about what I think is the fun stuff, which is marketing and branding, because that's what my background is in. I know for me, I thought of a name. Having a name for your business, that's sort of a very basic thing. I came up with Scribe Space because I'm a writer, scribe, and then Space, it had a cool kind of flow, and I thought about the vision that I had for my company, which was, I wanted sort of a cool, laid-back agency feel, sort of like a big agency marketing feel, but geared towards small businesses. Because by working in the field for a few years, I noticed that there was a need for affordable, low-cost to no-cost marketing for small businesses, because obviously it's a highly competitive field out there, and small businesses need all the help they can get in the marketing world. So, I thought of the name myself and the vision, and I used that to talk to a designer who designed a logo for me. Do you have a logo that you use? Did you design it yourself?
I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
It's in the works. Yeah.
Process.
So you're more like design oriented than I am, so it's probably something you can do yourself. Those are one of those tasks that I outsourced to somebody else, because I don't know, how to do that kind of stuff. So once you have that kind of things, every business needs a website. That is something I would recommend outsourcing to a professional for sure. We were talking about it before the show. Your website is the face of your company. I mean, 75% of people that's how they're going to find you, is online. If you don't, what did you say earlier? There's too many websites out there.
There's too many websites to have a bad one.
Right. There's too much competition. Like, there's no room for you to have a bad website. And honestly, for pretty minimal startup costs, you can have a really sleek, professionally designed website that showcases what your business is all about, what your products are about. If you're doing pottery, you want to have someone, maybe a professional photographer, come in and take pictures of your pottery to best showcase your product. You want to present yourself as professionally as possible, because that's your face of the company, that's your face to the world and to your potential consumers. And then there's a lot of other things. I mean, marketing is so huge. There's so many things you can do depending on what your target audience is and who you're going towards. And that's where it kind of comes into the fourth aspect of this sort of 4-step plan, which is networking. So who do you know in public relations, in media? Who do you also know in the business that could be useful to you in some way? Do you need a partner? I mean, do you need to form a partnership with other companies, non-competing companies that can help you out? There's a million different directions that you can go in, and you're going to need things like business cards, flyers, postcards, handouts. I mean, even if you are an online business, you're still going to need the physical things. You know, you never know when you're going to meet a potential customer. You can meet them in the grocery store. You always want to have your card ready, you know. So, I mean, what kind of things do you have in terms of, you have a website, you know?
Yeah, I have my website that I'm constantly shooting for and updating, not only to maintain my skill, but to maintain a fresh look and a fresh idea of my vision. I have my business cards that I keep with me at all times. And I also have had flyers printed, like a little postcard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I recommend investing a little bit of capital in things like that, so you present yourself as a real professional. And even if you don't know what you're doing, you can fake it until you make it, you know. So just present that to the world. So that might be also something that maybe you need to outsource. Maybe get a professional to help you write your website, or to get you some ideas about the best ways to market and brand your new business. And, you know, maybe you're going to need to go to different trade shows, go business to business, attend different business networking events. I mean, just a quick Google search will bring up different professional organizations that you can join, or different artistic organizations you can join, freelancers union. I mean, there's just countless opportunities for you to really get out there. I mean, and there's so many different channels that I recommend, you know, picking a specific strategy, going with that, and seeing if it works out. And if it doesn't, switch strategy. Because I fall victim to wanting to do everything all at once and then feeling so completely overwhelmed that I do nothing at all. So picking a strategy is really helpful for me. So do you have any other sort of questions or concerns, or anything that sort of sticking out to you? Any advice you have for other people that might be looking to turn something that makes them really passionate into a business?
Go with what you're good at. I mean, like, if you're naturally drawn to something, just run with it. And, you know, like, anything you've felt nervous about showing to the public, just show it. Like, it's fine. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to wish you didn't show it? Well, that's not much of a regret. So go for it.
That's awesome. So thank you so much, Laura, for being on the show today and being our first guest. And I learned a lot from you.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all we have for today. Tune in next time for our next episode of Community and Business. I'm Abby Finch. Thank you.